What would it be like to be a mechanical designer? You know, somebody who technically designs products from scratch with an aim on mass production. Well, I have you covered today. I have this great guest lined up. He's worked with some of the biggest outdoor and sports brands from around the world. Brands like Puma, Cleveland Golf, Black Diamond, and a bunch of others. Not only that, he's worked with celebrated athletes like Vijay Singh, Tiger Woods, and Usain Bolt. My name's Christopher Schoenwald, podcaster, entrepreneur, educator, coming at you from the land of the rising sun, Japan. And yeah, like I said, I've got this great guest lined up. His name is Rob Horacek. And in this talk, we get into the details of being a mechanical designer, you know, what the job's all about, some of the finer details, some of the perks and rewards and challenges, a bunch of different things. Not only that, there's this really cool story involving Rob and Vijay Singh, you know, the former #1 golfer in the world that you're gonna wanna stick around for. So yeah, why don't we jump right into it? So here's Rob explaining what mechanical design is from a broad perspective.
It's really the bigger picture, I'd say. It's problem solving. So it's kind of how do we make a better solution to whatever the need is out there than what exists. And if we're working on it, it means it hasn't been done before. We're always working on something new, something different. We're not just kind of copycat, just recreating what's already there, which inherently means there's a lot of creativity and innovation that needs to happen, which is a whole long process.
Okay, and to add some clarity, I asked him to follow up that with, a day in the life. Like, what takes your time? What are some of the jobs and responsibilities of being a mechanical designer? And this is what he had to say.
But I would say probably half my time is in CAD, so 3D CAD, basically a tool like any other tool to help you model, visualize, eventually produce 3D prints and renders and that kind of thing. So CAD is really the main tool. That's kind of where a lot of things happen. So at least half the time in that. So it is pretty software intensive. It is nice also to kind of get out of the CAD box and get into the real world a bit. We're making things that need to be used by people and need to be physically used, outside. So very much so we need a testing component. So there's, after the CAD, we do 3D prints, then we have assembly and testing. There's, any range of testing, whether it's with athletes or professionals or normal consumers or focus groups, or there can be lab testing, durability testing, us kind of just doing our own homegrown experiments. So there's a huge testing component. With the prototypes, there's a lot of, again, the assembly and the hands-on side is something I really like. So again, imagine a workshop where you have a bunch of tools and you need to take these 3D prints and tap holes and, many different ways of finding clever ways to prototype things using what you've got. Sometimes it's 3D prints, sometimes it's, just kind of a collection of things you can find to get the job done. So I do enjoy the hands-on side of it. There's FEA, finite element analysis, which is kind of the more advanced engineering analysis. That's basically taking a CAD file and applying loads and applying real life forces to the CAD model. So you're basically predicting it before you actually make something, which we do sometimes depending on the project. Pretty powerful stuff. You have design reviews with clients. You have other calls with lots of people we collaborate with, the manufacturers, the electrical engineers, that kind of thing. You have, some management and some kind of people side of it. You have the most fun part is the kind of sketching and concepting. So you have a notebook and, kind of can get a bit more creative. Again, it's a much smaller percent of the process, but my most favorite part.
Yeah, I hope that helps and gives you some clarity about what it would be like to be a mechanical designer, the day-to-day, week-to-week. But if you want more detail, because Rob certainly goes deeper than that into it, check out the audio version, wherever you access your podcast, look for Life as a ... And yeah, there's tons more in the full-length conversation, more than I can show in this short YouTube video. Anyways, getting back to this video here, I do have another question that I want to share with you in terms of the answer of what Rob provided that I thought was really insightful. And it has to do with him combining his passions outside of work, the professional and the personal coming together. So check this out.
Only after working there a couple of years in the golf industry did I kind of connect the dots that I was skiing every weekend, and I had been growing up, and I had been during engineering school. I didn't realize that engineers actually worked on things like skis and all this equipment I was using. And so then after working in the golf industry a few years, I was able to transition to the ski industry and outdoor. And that was for me when my passions really kind of combined, of the things I love doing and then the things I got to do for work.
Yeah, I really like what Rob had to share there. I think that's one of the aspects that's often overlooked when you're considering, your future careers. This notion of how you can combine your personal interests with the professional. And if you can thread that needle, you're basically harnessing lightning in a bottle, and that's going to set you up for a lot of fulfillment down the line. Well, I had this other question that I wanted to ask Rob, and it had to do with some of the unique perks associated with the work. I had a few ideas of what they could be, but what Rob said kind of surprised me, kind of moved me a little bit. So yeah, check this out.
We've been lucky enough to work with people like Tiger Woods and Vijay Singh and Usain Bolt. And, that's where being part of a brand or working with a brand that has those relationships, you get to kind of, it does kind of springboard you to a different level of people you have access to that we would have on our own. But that's been, never mind, interesting and pretty unique. But again, learning from the best and kind of having chances to test these products with the best people and kind of see how they approach that.
Okay, well, another thing I want to know about are some of the other rewards, some of the more deeper and meaningful rewards that can be derived from this line of work. And look closely, when Rob is explaining this, you can see his face just light up. And I think that speaks to the point of him, finding this level of fulfillment. But then too, what the job itself can offer you, if you really sink yourself into it.
Trekking poles don't sound that interesting, but it was a very revolutionary way to make a trekking pole. And it's fun when something starts as it was only going to sell 7,000 in a very niche market, and it ended up exploding to be, half of their product line and sell, I don't know, 3, 4, 500,000 per year. And it's one of those kind of examples of things that, when you work on these things, that's quite fulfilling just to see.
Yeah, of course.
You see it on the trails everywhere you go. You see these things being used, and it's kind of fun to be in different countries of the world and kind of seeing your things used around the world.
Could that not be? Yeah.
And we had, just recently this past Olympics, there was a shoe that was used to win the 200 meter gold medal. So that obviously that kind of stuff is really exciting. There's a startup Soundburner we've worked with. They make musicians for wearables for musicians, a bit more of a niche kind of a product, but same thing. They've sold over 100,000 units. And for a startup to do that without having the kind of brand backing, it's just fun to be part of those kind of projects. Yeah.
All right, now it's time for that Vijay Singh story, the former #1 golfer in the world, and Rob. Yeah, a lot of fun with this one. It kind of shocked me, kind of surprised me in the moment, but again, kind of speaks to this point of you never know within this line of work of what you're going to be doing, who you're going to be working with. So check this out.
There was a funny moment. I was only a few years out of college, and we were working with Vijay Singh, and at that time he was #1 golfer in the world. He had just passed Tiger Woods, so it was a big deal to be working with him for a few days on the driving range. And there were a couple of us engineers. Our job for the day, for the few days, was to stand in the field and mark where his balls landed. So he was trying different drivers that we had designed, and he's hitting drives at us. We're standing out in the field with a bunch of cones and trying to see the balls come down and avoid, getting hit.
Not get knocked out.
Yeah, exactly. By the #1 golfer in the world. And then mark where the ball landed. And then we could record a bunch of data about dispersion and distance and kind of see which club outperformed the other. And this was before some of the launch monitors they have now, but it was pretty funny to get balls driven at you by the #1 golfer in the world. So.
All right. Well, I hope that gives you a great idea of what, life as a mechanical designer would be like. And don't forget, this is a video compilation of the highlights of the full-length conversation that I had with Rob, available wherever you access your podcast. Just look for Life as a ... And really quickly before I sign off here, take that millisecond right now, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It means so much, as far as getting this content out. This platform, YouTube, the only way it knows to push things out is if people react to it. And I really, truly believe that this content matters. It has the power of shifting people's lives, setting them up for the next 20, 30, 40 years of their life. So yeah, I think there is something to it. And it would mean a great deal if you, again, take that millisecond, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Anyway, I think we're going to draw it to a close here, but yeah, tune in next week. I've got these episodes dropping every single week. New professions, new businesses covered. All right, don't miss the next one. See ya.